The tower defense genre had a spike in popularity a few years ago. These games are definitely still prevalent, but it seems public infatuation with them has diminished somewhat. Comet Crash is a 2009 release that reminds you why the genre can produce some quality games and why it was so popular. Comet Crash is a downloadable only title developed and published by Pelfast. As previously mentioned, it's a tower defense game. But unlike many games of the genre, Comet Crash has an offensive component. Simply put, opposing sides are trying to infiltrate the enemy's base with a certain number of units. Upgradable turrets and other defenses can be placed along the enemy's route, and the game emphasizes the ability to elongate said route by strategically placing turrets in selective gateways, all without completely cutting off the enemy's ability to progress. This may be interstellar war or whatever, but we have to be fair. So I'm hesitant to explain the context of what's happening on screen because, well, I don't know what it is. Comet Crash lacks any form of story, and even with the decent visuals and sound, the game obviously relies on its gameplay to speak for itself. As mentioned previously, Comet Crash sets itself apart fairly well with its balance of tower defense as well as offense. The player-controlled ship, while not being able to manually fire any weapons of its own, can easily fly into enemy territory and place a turret in order to clear a path or distract defenses. It can also take damage, but complete destruction only sets you back a few seconds as the ship is spawned back at the base pretty quickly. Then again, those few seconds can be kind of aggravating considering all you can juggle in Comet Crash. Producing turrets and other defenses, upgrading them in order to handle increasing flow of enemy units, building unit factories of sorts, and just dealing with the enemy can get pretty hectic. There are quite a few different unit varieties, ranging from basic scouts and tanks to special ops, hammers and thieves. The latter have more impact on enemy units, while the former are primarily focused on reaching the enemy base. But as we learned from numerous governments, America, defense doesn't come cheap. That makes it seem like you have to take out a sketchy loan in order to play Comet Crash, and unless you're short about $10, that's not the case. No, Comet Crash, like most tower defense games, has a resource system, a simplified one really. Cash can be obtained from the comets streaking across the environment, and it just so happens that your ship can grab them, and turrets can shoot them. The mostly manual nature of recovering resources only adds another layer, and Comet Crash ends up becoming a pretty engaging tower defense game. The offensive nature of the usually defensive gameplay, the different aspects and tasks necessary to complete the varied levels, and even the aesthetic make up this rock solid title. Yes, because rocks and comets and minerals and stuff.